There's a shameless plug that begins each show, and it sounds like this. You should subscribe to my picks. This ball does not lie. Unless you're emailing me, then this ball doesn't lie.
Welcome back to This Ball Does Not Lie. I am the ball that does not lie, and I have been living up to my name. If you don't know now, then consider yourself told. This ball does betting predictions, not prop bets. I don't hate you. I don't want you to develop a gambling addiction. We picked the spread in this publication with this ball. We are going to recap the stretch that made you a lot of money right now on this company's investor call. So a reminder, I introduced it in my first show, but an investor call is when this company, me, a talking basketball, meets with my investors, you, real people out there in the world, and we talk about our assets, which is the National Basketball Association. So in between the days of November 5th and November 14th of 2025, if you were listening to this publication and you bet the amount that this ball told you to on each game, you would have made 126.5 units. We measure things in units because maybe you're comfortable putting $1 on a game for 1 unit. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10. Hopefully it's not much more than that. But you would have done very well during that stretch. So just a note, this ball calculates how much money you're making as if every single spread was minus 110. As I've mentioned before, I have a day job. I am a basketball full-time. I don't always have time to put in the exact odds at the times that I bet them, and it might be different for you. So all of these calculations are assuming that every single spread you bet was minus 110. And if it isn't, it was pretty close. So during that 10-day stretch when you made 126.5 units, how did you do it? What are the teams that have made you a lot of money? We're going to recap some of that, and then we're going to talk about what that means going forward. So you have some favorite teams in the league right now. I don't know if you're aware of that. 2 of your favorite teams in the league are the Pistons and the Wizards. Now, I've brought up the Wizards in the past. I don't like to focus on the negative, but I don't think a lot is expected of Washington this year, and they certainly aren't playing like it. The Wizards have only covered 2 out of the last 10 games that they have played as of the recording of this episode. In case you don't know, that is not very good. During the 10-day stretch where we made all those units, we went 3 for 4 predicting the Wizards. So this ball is pretty much on that beat to this point that, Washington is not covering. And I would say moving forward, feel free to go against them. I know that they are, like plus 14 every night, but it doesn't matter. They have not been covering. Be careful, because the less points that they're given, I would say they're less likely to cover. That's just how their season's been going. But I think it's a safe bet for the foreseeable future to bet against the Wizards in pretty much every situation. And I would say a similar thing about the Pistons, but you should be betting on them. I think it's really too early in the year to be talking about them making the next step. They've been playing like it so far, but what are we, like 12 games in? The Pistons have covered 8 out of the last 10 games that they have played as of this recording. We went 3 for 5 predicting them over that really good stretch from November 5th to the 14th. Like I just said, I think that it's taking the sports books a little bit to get used to how good they are. It's hard to tell this early on in the season. We just know that they are pretty good. So for the foreseeable future, feel free to bet against the Wizards and on the Pistons. Now, another team that is one of your favorites in the league that you should be keeping an eye on are the Phoenix Suns. The Suns have covered a ton lately. They've covered 9 out of their last 10 games, regardless of the prediction that this ball makes. The only game they didn't cover, they tried to. They blew that big lead to the Hawks earlier in the week, and this ball is definitely still not upset about that, which is why we're bringing it up. I think that this year's Trailblazers from last year, the Portland Trailblazers were the team that were just covering unbelievably last year. It looks like it could be Phoenix. Right now, I think that they're playing this way because I don't think they have any expectations. We're going to keep our eye on this. We're going to monitor this for you. That's what my company does, what This Ball does when it's not lying to you. We're going to give you the best advice. But, I mean, I would say until the next time you hear from This Ball, feel free to bet on the Suns. Take them to cover every night because they've just been playing better than anyone expected of them, especially me. But like I said, monitor the situation. If they start to go downhill and they're not covering, don't be surprised. I don't necessarily expect them to keep this up all season. Another team that is one of your favorites in the league, probably not your favorite in terms of making money, but one that has treated you pretty good to this point, are the defending champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are big favorites every single night. And it's getting to the point where it's too much, and the sports books are catching on. Really, I mean, they are so good that the only way that, a lot of the betting sites can make any money on them is to make them 17, 18-point favorites every night. And that's a lot to ask of anyone, especially right now in the season. We're not even to Christmas yet. These teams are just trying to win games. I would say you should maybe ease off on the Thunder a little bit. If you're consuming the show and you're looking for good betting advice, be careful. Take a look at how much they won by last night and maybe look tonight, especially on a back-to-back. I think that asking them to win by 16 points every night is asking a lot of every single team. So I'm going to say ease up on the Thunder a little bit. Just because it's too hard to win by that much every single night. Moving on to two more teams that you like. They're not among your favorites, but they've been doing a good job making you some units if you're listening to this publication. The Celtics, like I said, are too good to tank. I kind of saw this coming in the episode previous to this one. They have covered about 2/3 of their games this season. I think that the sportsbook certainly expected them to be worse, but they just got players who know how to win, who've been there before. They have players who have won a championship before. I would say be careful with the Celtics. If you want advice on the Celtics, you're going to have to subscribe because there's really no other way to talk about betting on them. They're very night to night. And I think that, there's still time for them to become tankers, but I honestly, I think they're too good. Another team that you like in the league right now are the Utah Jazz. They're kind of in the Wizards boat. I would say it's pretty safe to go against them every single night. I just don't necessarily think that they're trying to win. Now, something that you should have your eye on if you are looking to make money wagering on sports is the NBA Cup and whenever those games are played. Just so you know, the NBA Cup is played on Tuesday and Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. I'm bringing that up because I make predictions about the spread, and in the NBA Cup, the amount that teams are winning by matters. So unlike in regular season games where, late in the game they're playing the foul game and they're just trying to dribble it out and just get to the end of the game, these games matter the point differential. So teams are trying to score all the way to the end. For the really good teams, like I mentioned before, like the Pistons who are on a roll and the Thunder, I think you should take them to cover in the NBA Cup because they are so much better than a lot of the other teams in the league. And the Suns, they've been doing really good when they're trying to win this year too, and they have been to this point. So don't sleep on the NBA Cup. It could be your own personal ATM this time of year. So now that I've done a nice job kind of ruining sports fandom for the past few minutes, because I don't think this is good for sports. The fact that someone could, be a basketball on the internet and talk about teams as if they are businesses, that's not good for the next generation of sports fans. I'm going to try and clean up my act a little bit in this next segment. As you all know, Thanksgiving is coming up. It's the holiday where we don't watch this kind of ball. We watch the football, and we eat a lot of turkey, and we're thankful for it. So in this next segment, let's talk about the players in basketball that this ball is most thankful for. Let's start with the NBA since they are in season, and I'm going to bring up a player that I mentioned in episode 1. That would be Mr. Antetokounmpo over there in Milwaukee. Now, not only is Giannis an incredible talent and a lot of fun to watch, but the guy has something that more NBA players, I'm not even going to say that. More people need to have. He's got integrity. And I'm talking about last season when the Bucks season ended, when he's trying to leave the court and Halliburton's dad runs on the floor and gets in his face. That could have ended a lot worse, people. But Giannis is a pro. He obviously reacted a little emotionally in the moment, but he held himself together. He saw the bigger picture, and he took it to the press conference, and he told everyone how he felt about it. I think that just in general, like in life, we need more people like that. People who just, like I said, see the bigger picture. I really respect Giannis. I love the fact that he's still in Milwaukee. It seems like he really likes it there. He won a ring there. I don't blame him for wanting to stay. I think that we need more people like Giannis. And like I said, he's insanely fun to watch. I'm also thankful for probably my favorite player in the league, even though my favorite player fluctuates. Some nights, a lot of nights, it's Wembanyama. I'm a big fan of Jokic, but night to night, my favorite player in the league is Anthony Edwards. Ant-Man really is that cool. He's getting better. He cares. And like I said, with the coolness factor, he's just the kind of player that there aren't a lot of in the NBA these days, like genuinely cool. And not just the NBA, sports. He's just got that confidence that I think that stars need to have. So, Ant Edwards and Giannis, I'm thankful for you. From the MNBA to the WNBA, of course, I have players in the W that I'm thankful for. This ball does not just watch the MNBA. I'm going to start out with Skylar Diggins. Skylar Diggins is the player that you want on your team. Sitting at home watching the WNBA, I'm afraid that Skylar's going to yell at me through the TV. She wants to win. She's a competitor. I love watching Skylar Diggins play, and if I had to play for my life, I would want her on my team. Skylar Diggins, this ball is thankful for you. I'm also thankful for my favorite player in the WNBA, Angel Reese. Let's talk about Angel Reese for a moment, and not in comparison to Caitlin Clark, okay? I understand why, she's always pitted against Clark, and I'm not even saying it's not warranted. They came up at the same time, and I think it's certainly fair to say that they have a rivalry, and I think it's a lot of fun. But looking at Reese and the way that she plays, she's a hustler. I mean, you don't grab that many rebounds every night unless you genuinely want the ball. Years from now, we're going to look back on Angel Reese and talk about how good she was, especially early on. She's my favorite player in the WNBA because she is a baller. Angel Reese, I'm thankful for you. Now, before we let everybody go, as you know, this publication predicts professional basketball games, and I kind of want to keep it that way because I just don't. Now, people are going to bet on college sports. I get it. I don't love the idea of selling picks on that because it is college sports. I know that no one else feels this way. I know that this is a me thing, but I wish that some things were still sacred. And I wish that there wasn't such a betting culture around college sports, but it is what it is. And I don't think it's out of the question that someday this ball could offer picks on college sports. But at the same time, I'm a fan of all basketball. I am a basketball. So some of the people that I am thankful for in the WNBA, I'm going to focus on some coaches. In the men's game, I want to talk about Tom Izzo. Izzo is still out there coaching. He's been around for a long time, and his teams play the same way that they always have. What a lot of people would call the right way, maybe the old school way. A few weeks ago, I had a lot of fun watching Arkansas against Michigan State, and it was really the battle of two different worlds. Calipari always goes out and recruits a lot of players who are very talented. They can take over the game. They make a lot of highlights, but Izzo's team won. And Izzo's team was, running wheel offenses and backdoor cuts and screens and passes with two hands and rebounds with two hands. And it was a fundamental fest. And it was honestly really refreshing. I think if the game was played more like the way Izzo coaches his teams to play, it would be more fun. And I'm really thankful that Izzo is still putting teams out there that play like, we're watching Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. In the women's game, I'm going to, maybe this is a boring pick, and I guess I'm sorry about that, but I'm thankful for Dawn Staley. She puts together really great teams, and I can't think of anything off the top of this ball's head for a reason for me to not like her. I mean, I'm really just thankful in general that the women's game is doing so well and that there's a lot of characters that are a lot of fun to follow, but I'm going to go with Staley for someone that I'm thankful for because I think that she makes women's college basketball better and she puts together some really great teams. Okay, so this does it for this episode of This Ball Does Not Lie. I have been the ball that does not lie. I want to make something clear to everyone. I am aware that Nico Harrison got fired. We are going to cover that. Don't worry. There's a lot of fun stuff on the way that this ball is cooking up. But for now, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Have a good time. Eat too much turkey. A lot of people are going to say don't. I'm going to tell you to do that. And make sure you subscribe to my picks if you want to make money, or just hold on to your money. That's fine too. But either way, keep balling, everyone. See you next time.